might not suck this year.
This is the Baseball Hour with Tony Maz.
Me.
Presented by Bigelow Tea, Jackson Lumber, Blue Moonlight, Wellesley Testosterone, FindMassMoney.com, Gem Plumbing, and by Golf. On Boston's home for sports, 98.5, the Sports Hub.
2-2, swung on and missed. That's the ball game. This one ended early. A 6-run second inning, and the Guardians salvage one in the series, and now the Red Sox hit the road to Arizona to take on the A's at Sacramento.
Yeah, just an ugly one. This is part of the game. It happens. You know, enjoy the off day tomorrow. Get everybody on the right page. At this point, every game is a big game. You'd like to see at least a 4-2 road trip. when you come back here to play the Yankees.
A game like that one deserves a very short piece of audio, which is what that was. Because that was freaking ugly last night at Fenway Park. It felt like a mail-in from the start. Red Sox still reeling maybe from the loss of Roman Anthony the night before. They dig themselves a big hole. They get their asses kicked. They were never in the game. Then they got on a plane and flew out west. Maybe that happened today. I don't know if they flew last night or they flew today, but what difference does it make? Very little to say about that game last night. It was a complete and total stink bomb. 617-779-0985 is your number on the Baseball Hour. And let me ask you this question to start the show. And I am very eager to hear from you and get your assessment of where the Red Sox are and what your feelings are on the team right now. And I ask this because I get the sense that a lot of you kind of are doing what the Red Sox did last night, or at least what it appeared that the Red Sox did last night. So now look, they had a bullpen game. Brennan Bernardino got in trouble early. The second inning turned into an absolute calamity. They got smoked, and it was as close to a no-show as we've seen from the team all season long. Really. The injury to Roman Anthony the night before, the poor performance by Garrett Crochet, and it felt to me like the Red Sox kind of just showed up last night and said, we're going to take the loss, scheduled loss, as Jimmy Stewart would put it. We're going to take the beating. We're going to play like garbage. Then we're going to go out west. Peyton Toley pitches on Friday night, and we'll play the final 21 games and see what we got. So I will tell you in no uncertain terms, the Red Sox should be in the playoffs no matter what. If they somehow miss the playoffs, because they have a 6-game lead over the Kansas City Royals for the final wildcard spot. 6 games with 21 to go. If the Red Sox go 10-11, Kansas City's got to go 16-5 just to tie. To tie. It should be a given that you're in. And it's not like you're going to play total world beaters. You actually have a series in there with the Yankees. You're still going to have Bayo. You're still going to have Giolito and Crochet. You're still going to have Aroldis Chapman and Garrett Whitlock. And if you actually play half decent and maybe pull out the division, you could get a bye, at which point Roman Anthony could come back and play for the division series. So here's the problem sometimes with being a fan. You assume things, and you assume that because Roman Anthony's a rookie and Marcelo Meyer is a talented guy who was the number 4 pick in the draft, and he'll be back for the spring, and you assume that Christian Campbell will get his head screwed on because he's a talented player and he'll come back, and you assume that the Red Sox are at the beginning of some 5-year run in which they'll make runs at World Championships. But then something comes out like what Jeff Passan wrote today on ESPN.com. And now, naturally, I have clicked out of the story. So let me just go backwards here and see if I can get to the exact part of the story that should interest you. Jeff Passan writes with a headline, Early MLB Free Agency Intel, Tucker, Imai, Schwarber, and more. And one of the first names in the story, one of the first paragraphs in the story concerns Kyle Tucker, who's going to be a free agent, Kyle Schwarber, and Alex Bregman. And among the biggest questions that Jeff Passan has is this one listed at number 3. Does Alex Bregman stay or go? Does Alex Bregman stay or go? And this paragraph in particular should catch your eye. Because his deal included opt-outs after each of the first 2 seasons, Bregman could be playing elsewhere in 2026. That part's not new. We all knew that. Bregman's deal is a 3-year deal for $40 million per that allows opt-outs after every year. So he can opt out after this season. He could opt out after next season he could opt out the year after. And actually, the year after wouldn't even be an opt-out. He'd just become a free agent. But he can leave, really, at any time he wants. Then the story goes on. Barring an injury or catastrophic slump, writes Passan, he will opt out and join Tucker and Schwarber in a clear top tier among this winter's free agents. So that wasn't if he opts out. It says barring injury or a catastrophic slump, he will opt out. So it sounds to me like Jeff Passan has already spoken with representatives for Alex Bregman himself, someone close to Bregman or Scott Boras, who is Bregman's agent, maybe Boras himself. Whatever it is, they have told him that their inclination is to opt out at the end of this deal or at the end of this season because Bregman has had a good year and he could make a boatload on the market. Now, Bregman at the moment is slumping, although he did make a winning play the other night by beating out a hit, got a run home. But here's the point, and we talked about this the other day with the Baltimore Orioles on Felger and Maz, that the Baltimore Orioles had the same thought. They're going to be good every year. Except now Baltimore stinks again. They had a horrible year. They didn't live up to expectations. And now you look at the Orioles and say, okay, what do they need? How do they get back to being competitive? What everybody assumed would be a good year has not been a good year. And I think the same is true of the Red Sox going forward. Who knows? We think it's going to be good. And I'm one of those people that thinks it's going to be good. What if it isn't? What if Bregman leaves? What if Roman Anthony has chronic problems, be it with his back or oblique? What if Marcelo Meyer is exactly what he's been in the minor leagues and gets hurt all the time? What if Christian Campbell never comes back all the way? What if Garrett Crochet, despite the way he's built, actually breaks down at the ends of seasons when you throw him 180 innings? All of that stuff is still in play. What if Aroldis Chapman never repeats what he did this year? And if you want to tell me those are all negative thoughts, yes. But the point is, none of us can predict what the hell is going to happen. There is no way to know. And in some ways it relates to this year too, because at the trading deadline, some of you said, don't make a deal, don't extend yourself, I wouldn't acquire Joe Ryan, this team's not worth it, build for the future. Now, what if Bregman leaves? You have another hole to fill. You already need it as bad as it was, and you lose one of the key right-handed bats in your lineup. So you get the idea. And this is why I say, play it out. You still have games to win, and I'm eager to see what the mindset of the fan is. You want to, because we had a guy that called yesterday, Jimmy, you remember the call, I'm sure, who said he wanted to basically, because Crochet was fading and Roman Anthony was hurt, he basically wanted to pack up and shut it down. Get ready for 2026. I find that to be astonishing. You've waited 5 years, or at least 4, to get to this point, play meaningful games to get into the playoffs, give big at-bats and big moments to the young players on your team. Now you've gotten there, and because Roman Anthony's going to be out for 4 weeks at a minimum, you want to shut it down and quit? That's pathetic. It also completely undermines why you would watch games in the first place. The whole reason you watch games in the first place is to get to this point. The whole reason you get behind a team and support a team or watch a team is to get to a point where the games actually have value and meaning. And when everybody knows it and those moments are big and it's worth watching. The regular season is a grind. But to get to the good stuff in anything, you have to grind. You got to grind through the necessary stuff to get to the good stuff. It's true of everything. And the idea that you just want to pack it up and play for next year, and I recognize it was not a majority of fans, but that attitude is because you're spoiled from winning. And you don't want to put in the effort anymore for what it takes to get back there. So bitch about the Red Sox all you want, but I question whether or not some of you have the same appetite for it. 617-779-0985. We'll kick it off tonight with Anthony in Scottsdale. Go ahead, Anthony.
Hey, Maz, I just had a question for you. You know, given kind of the trajectory that this year, you know, the team has had, do you think, you know, because of all the things that you listed before, you know, why Bregman could be turned off by coming back, do you think he's more inclined to, you know, look at the positives and see where they've gone this year? Or are you thinking, you know, he's looking at the injuries and all that kind of stuff and being a little hesitant?
Anthony, what do you think?
Maybe a little hesitant now.
Okay, so look, and I ask you that because, look, only Alex Bregman knows and Scott Boras knows what he's thinking. And that's if Bregman has told Boras. But the way Passan wrote it in the story is that barring an injury or slump, catastrophic slump, he will opt out. Now, you want my opinion? I don't think that came from Bregman directly. I think it came from Boras, who is, if nothing else, a master negotiator. Now, that doesn't mean that everything he does is some sort of grand plan and brilliant. It could also be entirely transparent and see-through. I think he's bluffing. That injury that Bregman had, if I were a team signing him, I wouldn't want to give him much more than what the Red Sox did, although the Tigers did offer him a 6-year contract for $150 million, I think it was. So now if you have to do that math and you're Bregman and you say, well, would I stay in Boston for 80? Or if the Tigers are willing to give me that 150 again, and they're willing to do it for 6 years, do I go back out on the market? Because Detroit's every bit as good as the Red Sox. I don't know. So this is why Craig Breslow makes the big bucks. This is why the Red Sox are, in the position they are, because they can make those decisions. So the Red Sox have to decide, what do we do? I can tell you what my gut indicates. One would be an extension. That's off the table. I don't think the Red Sox are doing that. So do they sit there and wait? And my guess is they won't be that broken up if Bregman walks out the door. On some level, they'll be happy to save the $40 million. And if that surprises you, it shouldn't.
Naz, I'm stunned that you would say that.
They dumped Rafael Devers. You don't think you think they'd be upset if Bregman left?
I think there would be a lot of people in the Red Sox organization that would be upset if Bregman left. Because keep in mind, it's a 2-year, $80 million contract. It's not 10 years and 2 whatever, 3 whatever.
Okay, but Jimmy, again, if he could get 150 out on the open market, if the Red Sox were going to be so surprised that Alex Bregman left after his first year, why did they give him the outs in the contract?
Because they didn't want to commit to him for 4 years or 3 years. They didn't want a full commitment.
Okay, and he wanted to get out, and they
maximized the money per year over the term of the contract.
Okay, but they didn't want to commit to him for 4 years because they didn't want to pay it. Is what it comes down to.
But I think if they had given him 4 years, it would have been at like 30, not 40.
Okay, so why would they want to pay him now?
Because it's a 1-year, $40 million contract, which I think they could live with.
Okay, it's a year-to-year deal. This is my only point. Trust me when I tell you, the Red Sox are not going to be that broken up if he leaves. You are, and you should be.
I am.
And I don't mean you, Jimmy.
Oh, no, I would be.
I mean the fans.
Manager Bregman's been great.
I can understand why you would be broken up if they left. The team probably thinks that Bregman's not really worth the money and that they can find someone else to play third base and give them reasonable production. That would be my guess.
No, that feels educated. That feels like John Henry has buzzed your phone.
617-779-0985. We'll continue with your phone calls. We'll also get to something Tyler Milliken said on Walker Buehler last week that I think is worth replaying. I wanted to do it earlier in the week, but we've been sidetracked. There's a lot to catch up on the Red Sox because I said this last night, and this was not an exaggeration. The game 2 nights ago felt like their season was coming apart. Anthony got hurt. Crochet looks like he's teetering. They've got 20 games to go. There's no way they can blow this. Right? We'll be back with your calls. Injury, put him on the injured list. Now he can't hurt them. Dustin May is not going to pitch in a game of consequence again. They acquired him at the trade deadline. And I don't know that for a fact. I'm just telling you, pay attention. When they get behind 8-1 last night or whatever the hell the score was, 7-1 in the second inning, and Cora turned the game over to relievers, the guys who pitched most of the game at that point were Zach Kelly and Dustin May. Jordan Hicks did all the damage. But that tells you all you need to know about Zach Kelly and Dustin May. They are not candidates to be on the postseason roster. Alex Cora will not use them again in any situation of consequence, unless he's run out of pitching. They are the last two guys on the staff. Hicks would be another one, but he's on the injured list. So that's what last night told you. You're telling me that if you had to pick, and again, I understand we're talking about the 11th or 12th man on the staff, would you rather keep Walker Buehler, Dustin May, Jordan Hicks? To me, you got to keep one of those. Let's just say. To me, it's not even close. And Jimmy, did I hear this right? That because we were talking during the break, Buehler and Bregman are friendly?
Yeah, I believe they're best friends, and I actually did some digging on this. There's a story that was written by Ian Brown about their longtime friendship dating back to Team USA. They both played for Team USA in 2014. They also own a horse together. So they're best friends. Okay, so Buehler got sent his walking papers, and now there's a story that comes out from Jeff Passan indicating that Alex Bregman, barring a slump or an injury, and I should clarify, a catastrophic slump or an injury, that Alex Bregman is going to opt out at the end of the year. And there are those of you incredibly, and I'm not telling you it's a majority, but there are those of you incredibly last night or before last night's game who said, shut it down, you're not going to win anything anyway. Like, I really do look at that sort of attitude and say, why do you watch sports if you're just going to give up or quit at the first hint of adversity? You just quit? Because what, the championship's not going to be easy? So if the championship's not easy, you're out. You just want to kick everybody's ass along the way, have a nice, easy ride, be the most dominant team, and win, get your trophy, and go home. I don't get that. The value in the championships, to me, the value in the winning comes in beating someone who's trying to beat you. That's what competition is. That's what makes it valuable. If the other guy sucks and he can't even compete, well, just go down on the playground and play against a bunch of third graders and make yourself feel good. I think it's kind of pathetic, actually. Ryan is in New Hampshire. Go ahead, Ryan.
Hey, Maz. Thanks for taking the call. You are totally right. I don't know how you can feel anything but frustrated with the game plan for that bullpen game last night. You start Bernardino, who finished the ninth inning the night before, after reports all week that they were calling up Harrison to pitch the game. You move May to the bullpen, and then you bring in Darson as Hicks in the second inning to just punt the game. If you can't pitch Harrison or May against that Guardians lineup, why have the roster?
So, Ryan, maybe that's the good news that came out of it, is that the Red Sox got an answer last night. Felger read a comment earlier today on Felger and Maz about Cora saying that, hey, we thought this was actually a good place. We're going to stand by Hicks. We thought this was a good opportunity to get him going. I can understand that. Playing a crap team, you got a bullpen game. Tolley's going to go Friday night, so they pushed him back. So you were either going to have somebody on the mound starting the game who you didn't want to start, whether it was Kyle Harrison or Dustin May. Instead of doing that, we'll throw the bullpen game. We'll let Cora pitch the matchups, and we'll go from there. And we think if we have to use Hicks in the middle of the game, it's against Cleveland. Their lineup blows. So we think that we can maybe get Hicks on some kind of role because we could use him at some point. There was a time in his career where Hicks was a little more effective than he is now, but it went the other way. So the good news is Cora got an answer on Hicks saying, I'm done with this guy. Forget it. We can't do it. We're in big games now. We can't give away games. So they put him on the injured list. Dustin May, I think they would put on the injured list if they could, but they're going to need to keep someone around to pitch mop-up for when they get their ass kicked or in case they get their ass kicked in the last 21 games. Guess who's going to get the ball in those circumstances? Mike and Holden. Go ahead, Mike.
All right, Maz. A couple quick points here. So here's what I would do. I would concede the division, concede the first wild card, do 6 games up with 20 games left to play. Protect Crochet, Bayo, Giolito, Tolley, Wilson, Chapman, Whitlock, and Slayton.
Mike,
make sure they get rest. Yes.
Why are you conceding anything? What if Toronto loses? You play the Yankees head to head. You don't concede anything. You just go out and play. Just keep doing what you're doing. What? Why?
So, Maz, you're 3.5 behind Toronto. You got no Roman Anthony, right? Garrett Crochet is showing signs of fading right now. What's more important, Maz? Going into the playoffs healthy or chasing the division or chasing the first wild card?
You don't have to make the decision yet to give up the first wild card, which you're tied for, by the way, basically with the Yankees, or give up the division. You don't have to make that decision yet. You got 21 games to go.
Maz, did you advocate for skipping Crochet, a spot in the rotation? Or
Yes,
a start? Okay. So do you think you should do that with Bayo and Giolito as well?
No.
No. Okay, and Tolley's starting every Friday. They've already backed off of him, right?
Okay, but we don't know that it's going to be every Friday. We're theorizing it might be. They haven't said that.
He's on a pitch count limit, Maz, right? So we know that for a fact. You have 4 starters right now. You don't have a 5th. Bayo, Giolito are at career highs in innings, and I don't know how long for Giolito. Crochet's at a career high. Back them all off a start in the rotation. And make sure you stay away from Chapman and Whitlock. You have to milk the 6-game lead.
Oh, my God. You don't want anybody to pitch. You don't want anybody to pitch in these games? You don't want Whitlock and Chapman to pitch either? You got the most important games of the year going on right now, and you want to shut everybody down? That's what you want to do? Why do you even watch the sport if you get to this point and you don't want to compete? I don't get it. You're already thinking about next year and the young kids and keeping them all healthy. And you want to give up the top wild card spot. I don't want to give that up. You don't have to make any of those decisions yet. Live day to day at this time of year. Tolley's pitching tomorrow. Go out and win the game. Bayo and Giolito can make their regular turns. They're fine. Giolito had all of last year off. Bayo is a young guy who's been pitching for 3 or 4 years. As far as we know, they're both healthy. Keep putting them out there. If you've got to do something with Crochet, do it. Jared Carabas gave a good theory last night. Said with Crochet, instead of giving him a start off and 10 days off, which he may not like, just give him a 6th day, give him a 5th or 6th day every single time. Interesting way. So again, there's lots of ways to do it. And maybe this is just a tonality thing or a verbiage thing. But when you say, shut him down, stay away from him. No! It's time to play. You got 21 to go. See, this is why I said I wanted to get the mindset of fans. It blows me away. The Red Sox have not played meaningful baseball in September in 4 years. Now they're here, and we've been complaining about it. Now they're here, and you want to back off? Let's quit? That's asinine. I'm sorry, that is asinine. Anthony's on the Cape. Anthony, go ahead.
Yeah, that was incredible, Miles. You got to get these guys You got to get these guys to call up more often. I haven't heard you that fired up all year. Jimmy Stewart's got to clip that one for Felger and Maz. That was great. But listen, I agree with you. Maz, side note, before I get to my take, why the hell haven't we seen Kyle Harrison? We need pitching. This guy was scheduled to pitch for the Giants the night we acquired him. Jesus Christ, can we call this guy up? No, seriously. But Maz, I want to talk about the Bregman thing real quick. Sorry, I don't want to take up too much time, but I disagree with you, at least in terms of getting rid of this guy. It would be asinine, Maz. We just replaced him with Devers. The whole contract was designed this way because he wasn't able to get the contract last off season that he wanted to get. Well, so now he's proven himself. He's a great fit. Jimmy Stewart talked about it all the time. He's a genius. He's basically the coach. He's Cora's right-hand man. He's a perfect fit, not to mention a right-handed bat. I love the guy. He's mentoring the young guys. You got to keep him, Maz. You got to find a way. It would be stupid to get rid of him now.
Whoa, Anthony,
what are we gonna?
Anthony, I never said I'm going to let you go. I never said get rid of him. I never said that. I said I bet you the Red Sox would be happy to shed the contract. That's what I said. Of course they should keep him, 100%. Bregman's a big part of who they are. I think he's kind of behind the identity of the team in a lot of ways, along with Anthony. I love Bregman as a ball player. Love everything about him. He competes. He plays defense. He can hit in the clutch. He can hit for power. He can hit for average. He's smart. There's a lot to like about Bregman. I like Bregman. What I said is if he opts out, and it sounds like right now, if the season ended today, he might, or he would, based on what Jeff Passan wrote today, that barring a catastrophic slump or an injury, Bregman will opt out. And I said, I bet you the Red Sox will be happy with that. I never said I would be happy. I wouldn't. I want Bregman on the team. In fact, if I were them, I'd try to extend him and say, okay, look, you think you're going to get $6 and $150 from the Tigers. What if we guarantee your 2 years, add on another one at a guarantee and a fourth year with, I don't know, a vesting option that if you get a certain number of at-bats, you'll make more than you would have made in Detroit?
He says no.
Probably, Jimmy.
But if they were to go to him and say, here's 4 years times $40 million per year, he signs that because the Red Sox offer has to start with $2 and $80. That's what it has to start with.
Okay, so again, if I were them, that's what I would do if they're convinced. Now, I think Boris might be bluffing. I personally think that leg injury to Bregman has already hurt him. He missed, 2 months?
Yeah.
I think it's already hurt him. I think that any team he goes, like the Tigers will now say, well, we offered you that thinking that this leg issue was gone. Now it's back. So if this is going to be a recurring thing with you, then we need to build in some protections in the contract too. I think it's already hurt him. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Tigers are desperate enough to win a championship that they're willing to do it. I've already gone over. Kevin Majori's got your...
scuffling at 176. That one jacked back toward the wall. Duran racing. He's going to play it off the green. It bounces back to Sadon and into second base with a double. Standing up is Bo Naylor. Swinging a high drive. This one way back into left and way out of the ballpark. Arias with his 10th homer of the year. A 2-run shot. And Cleveland's in front 3-0.
This was a mistake pitch. Little backup slider stayed middle in. And control and command are two separate things, right? And sometimes it's about control for him. But pitches like that, it's about command where you have to finish it and get it down and away.
Kefis will rip that one to right, and that's a fair ball, and that'll skip up into the seats for a double. Double home run, double. Hicks is not missing bats. We've got another man in scoring position.
Everything's up in the zone with the off speed right now. That's never a good sign.
And against the Red Sox tonight, Guardians already have 4 extra base hits. There's a single into center. Kefis into third, and he'll stop him there as the throw comes back in. That is 4 consecutive hits off Hicks.
It's 4 hits in a row, and they've all been hit hard.
And that will be his night.
In terms of why so many of you, not all of you, why many of you are so out of your minds and can't think straight when you're in a pennant race or you're fighting for a playoff spot. Or, if we're talking about the football team in town, why the idea of winning 8 games seems stupid to you because you'd rather have a high pick in the draft. I think I've gotten to the winning got so repetitive here and was so abundant. There was such an abundance of winning for a 20-year period that you now think it's easy and you don't want to actually have to fight for it anymore. And so let's just get to a point where we can start winning again and everything's going to be okay. Frankly, I think a lot of you are downright delusional. I don't think you understand really what it takes to win. You did, but now you don't. You got spoiled from all the winning. And now all of a sudden you got to fight down the stretch and you have some injuries and there are some guys with fatigue and you want to shut everybody down. I didn't mean to yell at the caller the 2 segments ago. We were in a discussion, but you get to this. It's been 4 years since the Red Sox have played big games in September. Legitimate big games. 4 years. Now they're here and Roman Anthony goes down and Garrett Crochet looks like he's sputtering and you want to shut everybody down? I don't get it. What the hell do you watch for? You're more interested in the management part of it than you are in the actual competition on the field. I don't get that. That's not the reason I watch. I watch for the competition. That's the theater. Not for the freaking waiver wire. Holy crap.
I root for the general manager.
Oh my gosh, really?
And the business and the profits.
So you don't have to decide right now on Crochet. Keep an eye on him. See if he throws a side session. Back him up a day if you have to. But Giolito and Bayo have to take the ball and go. Otherwise, what the hell are we doing here? Eric is in Reading. Eric, go ahead.
Maz, I'm enraged at Red Sox management for relying on a 21-year-old rookie when we need at least 2 or 3 awesome run producer bats. We're looking at maybe potentially a 1978 style implosion because they don't have enough bats. They cheaped out. You dumped Devers for nothing. You wait all that time, you get low, and he's been okay, but there's going to be some regression to the mean. Let's see. Campbell can't.
Eric, let me let you go just because I got a lot of people on the line. I wouldn't call it a 1978 meltdown. Okay, that was a more senior team than this. They were ready to win, and that team did. You can say they were mismanaged. They didn't have a bench, what have you. Even then, they did win 99 games. If there was a wild card, they'd have gotten in. They didn't, so it's not like I can rewrite the rules, and it was a massive collapse. I don't know what I would compare it to what this team is doing because, again, Roman Anthony's a rookie. Garrett Crochet's 25. It's not apples to apples. You want to bitch about the fact that the team's not good enough? Then I'm certainly not going to prevent you from doing that. They needed help at the deadline. They didn't get it. I think the biggest sin at the deadline was failing to get more bullpen help. Like legitimate bullpen help. that has hurt them. You can even argue that the Devers deal was a good deal. They dumped the money, and the whole culture around the team made sense. I mean, it improved. So Hicks, they've put him on the injured list. He's out of the picture. But they needed to pick up another pitcher independent of Hicks. BJ and Whitman. Go ahead, BJ.
Hey, Tony, I can't believe what I'm hearing from some of these people. When I call in and you get your calls and you ask, your name and where you're from, you should ask how old they are. Because, we lived through the 70s, we lived through the 80s, we lived through the 90s. You're 140 games into the season, and you want to give up? I don't understand that. I have young kids that have finally now embraced what it means to be a Red Sox fan. Going to the games, the place is back. Fenway is back to the old ways. It looks like they have the city. My question is Crochet. I mean, obviously I'm upset that Anthony's out, and he does a lot to that offense, taking those pitches, and that's going to hurt the rest of the lineup. But it's Crochet. Like I said, if we can manage Crochet, if we can go into the playoffs having 3 solid starters, if we can have Whitlock healthy and we can have Chapman healthy, that's important. You got to go all in here. You have to.
BJ, I agree with you. Okay, I agree with you. Now, look, again, managing it and figuring out a way is a different thing, and there are multiple ways to do that. But this isn't like it was years ago. And I remember one of those years when the Red Sox were on their way to a World Series title. It was probably 15 years ago. But they got into a situation where down the stretch, they decided they were going to start managing their staff a little bit. So they started resting relievers and what have you. The rules were different. It wasn't a 3-game series in the first round. You played the LCS, you played the wild card series. I take that back. But you would play the wild card series and then and the Red Sox team, but you were going to play the wild card series no matter what. There was only one wild card team then. Home field didn't mean as much. And the Red Sox, most importantly, the Red Sox had a roster that was stacked. They knew how good their team was. And they said, if we get everybody healthy, we can beat anyone. If the Red Sox now get everybody healthy, they can still lose. They don't have the best roster in baseball anymore. And they're trying to develop young guys and in big games at this stage. All of that stuff is important. All the rules that we thought existed back when they were winning championships don't apply anymore. The circumstances aren't the same. You can't just leak these games away. Arthur's in California. Get Arthur. Just try to be quick, please.
Hi, Naz. First of all, I want to win every game that we can. If we can get Abreu back, that's not Anthony, but it's a partial Anthony, and that will help a lot. As far as Bregman, I don't think they're going to pay 5 years, 175. Let's just put Mayer third base and have Story play short until Arias is ready. So that's my feeling on the Bregman thing.
Okay, so look, again, I'd prefer Bregman stayed, and he might be bluffing, but if Bregman's get 5 and 150 coming from Detroit, the Red Sox aren't going to match that. I agree. But putting Meyer at third is not the answer. There's got to be more to it than that. You got to go out and get another righty bat. You've got to make a trade or reconfigure your team a little bit and figure it out. That's not good enough. The goal is not to stay at the level you're at every year. It's to get better and win championships. John in a car on Bregman. Go ahead, John.
Tony, he's not worth it anymore. That leg injury killed him. He hasn't even had that good of a second half. I mean, he's been good in the field, but his bat is just, he's got no power right now. He's not hitting the ball over the fence. He's singles and doubles. If somebody wanted to give him $160 million, I don't blame the Red Sox for not matching it. But in my mind, I think they cut Buehler to make Bregman walk so that they wouldn't have to pick up that money because they already got the interest in the team back, and they're going to ride this wave for another couple of years with minimal money going into the organization's on-field talent.
So, John, you might be right about that. They may run it like a business. That's what they've been doing anyway. So if that's the case, that would really kind of suck. So you get to this stage and you do just enough and you become a 90-win team and you make the playoffs and lose. I would like to think that if they start smelling a title, that maybe they will fight a little bit for it too, or they could just follow the pattern or the example set by some of their fans who want to shut it down now. It blows me away. Shut down Bayo and Giolito, too. Back off of them. How many freaking guys you want to shut down? Charles in Connecticut. Charles, quickly, please.
Real quick, if you remember back in the day, Pedro used to take a vacation in the middle of the summer. You can't shut anybody down now. This is a good team, but they need all hands on deck. And why did they start the young guy that they got in the trade from San Francisco last night, who might go more than 2 innings with 3 different pitchers? I was so annoyed last night. They were into the second inning with their third pitcher. I went to watch tennis, Tony. Have a great night.
So, Charles, the Harrison question, the Kyle Harrison question is an interesting one, and I meant to say this when the previous caller asked the same thing, and I honestly, with everything else that's been going on and these arguments I'm having with people, it skipped my mind. But he must have sucked in the minor leagues. I don't know what the numbers were, but beyond the numbers, it's hard to know until you actually watch a guy pitch. He must suck.
He does. And the numbers might be deceiving because I've watched him pitch a bunch of times, and his out pitch is a fastball away that doesn't really uptick velocity-wise. And his secondary and third pitches, they're junk. They're nothing. If he was a left-hander who could do anything, he'd be on the major league team right now. He can't. He's terrible.
You would think so, Jimmy.
Like a left-handed, you just trotted out Brendan Bernardino, Steven Matz blows, all these lefties up here. Kyle Harrison can't get a sniff, and I know he had to get an MRI and he's got an ankle thing now. But before that, he was on the Giants major league roster. They trade him here, they send him to the minors, and we don't see him again. That's bad. That's really bad.
Yeah, there's got to be more to it. There's got to be.
This Devers trade is going to be the most epic of epic fails. You trade Tibbs for May blows. Kyle Harrison blows. Jordan Hicks, the arsonist, he blows. And now you got the fourth pitcher whose name I can't think is 20. Hopefully he turns into something, but I doubt he will.
Yeah, his name's Bello, I think. B-E-L. I don't think it's pronounced Bayo, but it's spelled the same way. Anyway.
Oh, what an epic fail of a trade, Maz.
It's amazing. 2 games. 2 games. You have one night with some injuries, and then they lose a game. And it's some people, not all. Some people have just no spine. No resilience at all. Oh, my gosh. You want it to be easy. It's not going to be easy. Winning championships is not easy. It never was. You made it look easy at times. It wasn't. Majority.